What up, fam? Tuesday night, Birds of a Feather coming at you live from the Real Talk Studios on a2dradio.com, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. If you don't catch us live, you can catch us on iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. We're on iTunes now, Google Play. You can find us all over the place. The takeover is real here at a2dradio.com. We're brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours, gibsonmayer.com. Our topic of conversation tonight, trade deadline has passed. And we're going to get to that. But the conversation point is Orlando Scandrick's comments unified the Philadelphia Eagles as a team. Agree, disagree. That's brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, at Specialized Physical Therapy in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment needed. Go see our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. He's the best in the business, just like A2D. Chrome, back on the couch with my boys. I'm out of quarantine. I've been released back to the general population after a real nasty, nasty cold. Back with Kevin, Chucks, Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos. We may have a pop-in a bit. We hope we do.
5 minutes. He just said.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Daddy's going to be joining us here on the couch. Lots to talk about, guys. So make sure you guys are interacting with us. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Eagles, we go out, we get Jannard Avery, and that's it.
Woo!
We went out and got Jannard Avery.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not dumping on the move. We'll talk about it. We will talk about it, but, I don't think that's enough. But let's get into the topic of conversation. Let's just kind of get that out of the way. Orlando Scandrick's comments. What do you guys think? Let's hear from Kevin. Let's hear from the outsider here.
You first, Kevin.
For me, it's going to be a no. I don't think it unified anything. I think that the comments that are coming back from the team and from the locker room are typical safe face type of comments. Mm-hmm. It's, you see it not just in football but all around, especially once somebody's now outside like Scandrick is. It's, oh, no, he's wrong type of comments, No one here ever said anything like that. Don't pay attention to the guy behind the curtain type of deal, where there's still stuff going on back there that doesn't just resolve. I mean, you've got 53 grown men with 53 different opinions, especially when a team hits a rough patch. That doesn't just go away just because one guy called you out and you think you have to band together now. It doesn't just happen that way. So, I think the quick and easy fix is winning. I think the win did more for the team than, Scandrick calling him out and putting him on blast. But, it's going to take more than just one win, which we'll get into a little bit later. But
Chucks?
The key word in the poll question is helped. So because that word is in there, I'm going to agree. Everything you said is right, Kevin. It's correct. But I think that it's not. I think it's plausible to believe that the turmoil or the what they faced because of that, the attention that Scandrick's comments had or resulted in or created. It's plausible to believe that that helped unify them. There are other factors definitely that had to lead to a victory, and wins are going to heal everything. And I said that, as long as you keep winning games, you do what you do, you do what you need to do to win games, and ultimately winning games is going to cure whatever it is, because that's the goal. And there are other things that needed to be fixed, absolutely, but I think it was a contributing factor in helping bring them together, because I think after the meeting that they had, and probably them watching film of the Cowboys game and learning all of that, when you go out and then you see this, an outsider airing dirty laundry, a former teammate just of a week ago, or not even a week, sorry, a few days, airing out dirty laundry on Undisputed to public enemy number one, Skip Bayless, Cowboys lover. It's gonna sit something it's going to not sit well with players. They're going to be fired up over it to some degree. So I think it did help unify. Even though it's not the critical factor, the number one factor, it was a contributing factor.
Yeah, no, I disagree with the poll question. I don't think it helped to unify them. Do I think it fired a couple of guys up? Sure, but I don't think – I look at that maybe as more of a couple guys with a chip on their shoulder for this guy individually. I mean, I'm a lot of the reasons you gave, I'm kind of with. I agree with you that, things don't fix themselves overnight. I think that the closed-door meeting with the team where, from what we talked about before the show, this really wasn't even something that they addressed in that. I think was much more beneficial for unifying the football team. I think getting certain guys back is going to help to unify the team and solidify, what they kind of expected to be running out there to begin with. But no, to me, this guy, I believe when they say they're not worrying about a guy who was there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and at the end of preseason, who was there for a cup of coffee. He doesn't really have a thumb on the pulse of the team. He is a typical crumb. He's a cowboy crumb who saw his opportunity to take a shot and make himself relevant again, and he did. And I mean, listen, I don't know. Maybe he realizes his end of the road is here, because I don't think if you want to get into another locker room in this league, you're going to go out there and you're going to start exposing yourself.
He's done.
Or exposing that kind of stuff openly like that. To me, it's just a guy who saw his 15 minutes of fame on the air because he's been irrelevant for so long at this point. But I don't think this really bared anything on the team other than a couple of guys maybe pissing Malcolm off a little bit. Maybe it made Malcolm look at himself as a leader a little bit more of what, maybe he has rested on their laurels. I don't disagree with what he said in the fact that I do believe there's still a Super Bowl hangover with this team. And maybe it made a couple of them reflect on that. But in regards to unifying the team, no. I don't think that did that at all.
Yeah, I think that the only thing, if anything, that came out of it is, and we talked about this a little bit before the show started, is if you look at the Patriots, they had Ben Watson, suspended 4 games, gets cut before as soon as week 4 comes or 5 comes around where he's actually able to play. And then he's like, what's going on here, guys? I mean, I thought that I unretired to play with you guys for a reason, and then you cut me before I could even get on the field. A little bit upset. And then Brady steps out and says, "Oh, whoa, we love you. We love you. Don't worry. This is just business, buddy." And then bring him back in.
Talking about God steps out and graces him with his presence.
I think it's similar in the sense in this situation, Scandrick, where he jumps out and is throwing dirt all over the Eagles and calling guys out, and then somebody has to step up and say, "Hey, that's not how we're going to work it here. If you think that the grass is greener on the other side," talking to the guys in the locker room, then you obviously don't know the heart that whoever the player that would have stepped up is, whether it's Wentz or whoever it might be. Say, "Hey, we're going to prove to you that what he's saying isn't true. That we've got the team's best interest here. We don't have a Super Bowl hangover. We're going to put it all in. Are you guys with us or not?" And then obviously, if that conversation went the right way, it leads to the win that you have. So, as far as helping it all, that's the only thing I could see. But that's more of a fired up aspect versus a united side.
I mean, I'm looking at the character too. So a guy who is that willing to just kind of go out there and shoot his mouth off. What are you doing in that life? You come in and you see that culture, and you're a veteran in this league. What are you doing to change it? Mm-hmm. What did you do to change it? Because clearly nothing. He has no respect for – nobody has any respect for him in that locker room apparently. And it doesn't sound like he warmed himself up to this team. Like, humble yourself a little bit, dude. You got to come in and establish yourself with this team. No matter what you did anywhere else. And you didn't do that much. That you have to come in. And to me, that's cool. You want to come in and be a judgment on the character of a team and the dedication that a team has. What did you do to change it? Because I didn't see much. And I'm looking at his character, and to me, that's the guy that was out there on TV who's very willing to just go out there and shoot his mouth off and is a me guy, was probably the same way.
And not only that, you have to look at it this way: if you're a free agent, right? That I don't care when the Super Bowl was won, 1, 2, 3, 5 years ago. If you still have pieces of that team that you can go and play under and play with, to give them that chance, in a lot of other teams and situations and players, that's seen as almost like a privilege. Like, thank you for giving me another shot to get back on the field and play ball, but. And then you throw it back in the team's face and say, hey,
this dude's career is dead in the water. It was pretty much coming into this year, and the
Right.
Eagles threw him a bone to give him a chance.
Right.
And he did okay in one of the games. Made some plays. But
Against
he was
the
nothing.
Jets.
He was nothing special. Like the guy,
Everyone makes plays against the
listen,
Jets.
the guy was nothing special. Like at this point in his career, he's barely just a guy in this league at this point. So to come out and basically say you're a scapegoat and this and that, like I don't think I recall anybody saying, Oh, this secondary stinks because Orlando Scandrick isn't making enough plays on the field. Like, come on, man. Anyway, do we want to add anything else to this before we move on? Because we got a lot to talk about. We're good with that?
I'm done with them.
Said my piece.
Excuse me, sorry.
He's still a little bit sick,
I'm
guys,
not
but
sick.
he's all right.
I'm not
I'm
sick.
over
He's all
here.
right.
I'm not
He's-
sick.
Way
I'm
over here.
It's a cough. I'm not sick. It's the leftover stuff. All right, we're going to get to the chat because it's like getting that junk out. You know what I mean? I got a little junk in there.
Junk in the trunk.
A little junk in the trunk. All right, I'm gonna get to some of the chat just because the chat's firing already, and then we're obviously gonna get into trade deadline or lack thereof any movement during the deadline. Jake Friel says Chrome's alive. What's up, my guys? What's up, Jake? I am alive. Andy, have a great show, boys. Go Stros, huge first inning. Clay Ferguson says Duval. Tom's going to be joining us shortly. Bill Middlebrook, what's up, fam? Listen, I honestly don't believe that Howie sat on his hands. I may need somebody to read all these, though. Our secondary now healthy, can hold their own. We needed a pass rusher. I think we agree with that.
Want me to read?
I got it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try it. It's a lot of I've done. This is more talking than I've done since I was sick. So, which was done yesterday, and a wide receiver in case D-Jax can't stay healthy. It's not far-fetched to think Howie would have take a chance on AB bringing him back to Pennsylvania or even Gordon. I don't want either one of them. Not touching either one of them. None of them.
Anyone
It is very far-fetched. Absolutely not touching either one of these guys. We're talking about locker room issues.
Even if you wanted to get Gordon, he's going to go on waivers.
He's the one
You
that
can't-
I would maybe take a look at.
But we're not gonna. We
We
can't
can't
get
get
him.
'em.
Or the waiver
Right.
order is so far down.
Understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
No, I know you know this.
People who don't know football.
Somebody
don't
else is going to
know
have to
this.
read for a while. I definitely can't.
Ryan, you want to do it?
Yeah,
we're,
I
we're,
got
at,
you.
we're at Clay Ferguson here.
Mr. Clay Ferguson says.
Sorry, guys.
He first says, I think the Eagles are making a better long-term decision by holding on to their picks. Agree? Disagree? I disagree just because Howie can't draft.
It depends on what trade piece you're looking at. Like if you're talking about drafting, because here's and my article last week kind of addressed this is if you're looking for a younger piece, like who are the young pieces that were available via trade? You're talking about Minka.
Yes.
You're talking about Clowney. You're talking about Ramsey. Are there anyone else I'm missing that were young that got moved?
That
I
got
know
moved,
I know we got Avery, but not counting him because we got him.
I want to say
Anyone
somebody from
else?
the Jets. Wasn't somebody from the Jets?
I don't know, but those are the three top that come up.
those
in my
are the
head,
notable
all right?
ones, yeah.
Everyone else was older, correct? You're talking about Chris Harris,
Yeah.
30 years old.
Patrick Peterson.
Talking about Patrick Peterson, 31 years old. I
AJ
believe.
Green.
AJ Green is old. Emmanuel Sanders, 32.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about older pieces. Unless if you're getting like a discounted, like a bargain for them, trading premium draft capital for them does not make sense because you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't want the team to get younger and then trade draft picks for old guys. Now, if you're trading draft picks For young guys, like I said, that's a different story because these young guys are established and you know what they are and they're young to build with. So that's fine.
If you're gonna make that kind of
that's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on what trade pieces you're looking at.
right on with you. Like, if you're gonna make that kind of a commitment that we're gonna trade potential young draft capital to get a player who's a little bit older, it has to be a special type of a player, like a Jalen Ramsey, who is still young, but he's not old. He's not super
nearly
young.
old, yeah.
I can't talk.
But it's exactly what it is. Like, you can't just.
I'm not sick. This is just more talking.
He's completely healthy.
He's completely
He's
fine.
completely healthy.
This is more talking than I've done in a week.
He's
and my throat keeps
completely
tickling.
fine.
He can run a marathon tomorrow and win it. Anyway, back to the chat. Ralph calls Howie a little kitty cat.
That made me laugh.
Tom says he's pissed. Dion Brown checks in. What's good, fellas? Hello, Dion.
Good fellas.
Good fellas. He says, amen. Yet again, Howie and the higher-ups did nothing for the trade deadline. I'm not shocked at all. They must like/love what they have in-house. So moving forward, on to the Bears, shaking my head. Clay Ferguson says, I don't think you should be, talking to Tom, saying he was pissed. He says, Howie's doing two things. Number one, telling the team they are good enough.
You're already pissed off.
And number two, not mortgaging the future for a cup of coffee. But here's the thing, Clay. Just because he's saying those things doesn't mean he's correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's right.
That's
Like,
all I could say, yeah.
how, yeah. Yes or no answers, Kirk. Howie is saying, yes, we believe in what we have. Nothing you're saying there, Clay, is incorrect. But that doesn't mean Howie's correct.
Or flip side things, he's saying that there's not one piece out there we can go get is going to fix this team this year to go do anyway.
Or there was just no players available today or yesterday that were worth the price that was asked for.
According to him. Frank Vespi says, hey, yo. Hello, Frank. Sorry to bother you at work. It's okay, Frank. To answer the poll, I agree. It was great seeing the team feed off of that. The lesson here is that you don't run your mouth, don't talk smack about your colleagues on a public forum, or else you get shellacked by your boss's fans and teammates after making said comments, get released, and then watch everyone else do better without you. It's a great comment.
I'm jumping ahead here. Matt Patera says Robbie Anderson 26 and they didn't even try.
Yeah, they did.
They absolutely tried. Robbie
did.
Anderson is not worth a second round pick.
Joe Douglas is smoking something else.
Joe
You know what I'm
Douglas
saying? If you're saying that's for a second round pick.
Talking about maybe a 5th round pick. Yeah. Second round pick, absolutely not.
No.
And then they went back on it and said that,
I
wait
wouldn't
a
give him a
minute.
third. Sorry, go ahead.
The Jets
Fourth
went back
rounder,
on
I
it
would
and
go.
said, wait a minute, nobody's available. We're not trying to trade anyone.
Stupid.
Come on. The Jets and the Broncos, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, they're both like, we want to keep our guys, but they're not going to stay.
Yeah, premium price for Chris Harris, who's 30. Yeah. Like, really? No.
Stephen White says Eagles will be fine. Frank Vespi says cough drops are on the shelf, Chrome, if you need them.
I did see them.
Yes, Halls.
He's just looking
not
at
a sponsor.
Reach over, Chuck. 'Cause I might need one.
Yeah.
I just get this tickle out of my throat.
Christian Miranda
you
says
by-
Eagles will win the NFC East. Cowboys are trash. Bill Middlebrook says he's got to go through the waiver wire, but that doesn't mean those teams want him. Now, somebody will take a shot on Josh Gordon.
Someone ahead of us will take a shot on him.
Matt Butera, sorry if I butchered your last name. You hold on to picks. Don't we know the history of our draft picks? And then he has the hand over face emoji, so he's not happy. He also says Ramsey was young and pretty much a pick, just taking him from another team.
Oh, I mean, we agree with that.
Yeah, we
agree
wanted
with Ramsey. He's a special case.
Bill Middlebrook says AB is going to be playing somewhere real soon. I knew we weren't getting a cornerback. You knew you weren't getting a corner, Bill.
Yeah, I don't want that crumb.
Yeah, sorry, Bill. I disagree there. He may be playing the XFL, but not in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. It depends if he gets a record.
And Bill, what are you talking about? You knew you weren't.
He
we weren't getting.
saying
You were saying we're going to get Chris Harris and Patrick
Patrick
Peterson.
Peterson.
Come on,
Cha-
Bill.
Who's the one changing the narrative now, Bill?
Come on, Bill. These shows are taped, you know. These shows are taped. Matt says Keenan Allen, 27, another guy. Stephen White says, is everyone forgetting that when Darby and Mills plays together, the Eagles are 13-5?
I thought it was 14-5. Semantics.
I'll take that too.
Semantics, but exactly.
I'll take that too. Matt also says Robbie Anderson, 26. They didn't even try. Oh, you read that.
Yeah.
Bill Middlebrook says exactly we need a wide receiver the most. He also says, yes, they offered a third. They wanted a second. Michael Klinkoff says, what's good, my boys? Hello, Mr. Klinkoff. Jeff Lohmeyer says, if we were going to trade for one player, I was hoping it would be Slay. Would have been fine with sacrificing a few picks since recent drafts have been suspect. Matt Haxton says, Leonard Williams was the one from the Jets who was a young player.
Darius Slay fucking stinks.
Tom says, Darius Slay effing stinks.
He's fucking Jalen Ramsey.
He's not Jalen Ramsey.
Slay's a guy.
No one's Jalen Ramsey.
No, I'm just saying, stop falling in love with names. Like Detroit gets smoked in the air, and now we're Darius Slay.
Breaking. Detroit gets smoked in the air. Breaking. Chris Ryko says, would have liked to see them get A.J. Green, but it would probably be a disaster like Golden Tate last year. Yeah, that was.
He still hasn't played yet.
Yeah, he still hasn't played yet.
And Bill also says A.J. Green, too old and always hurt.
Fair point.
Leonard Williams, the other one. Thank you. I personally think that the Giants gave up a lot for
And
a
then
guy who was
there's no market for him.
average. They were the only ones that bid.
Yeah.
They outbid.
Hate to say it. Hate to
They're
say
the
it.
only ones that inquired. Like, and one that tells you something. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Leonard Williams can't develop, but based on his track record so far, he had a good rookie season, and it has been terribly inconsistent. And I've asked numerous Jets fans, friends of mine who are Jets fans, like what their opinion is, and they were more than happy to get a third-round pick. Wasn't it a third and something else too? Third and a fifth? I could be wrong, but the return that the Jets got for Leonard Williams, they were ecstatic. So that's saying something. Like they're the ones that see this guy play every week, and from studying him, he's very inconsistent. You have a splash play here, but then fall off the face of the earth. Like and I know the Patriots play him twice a week. He's terribly inconsistent the past 2 years. So you're talking about someone for a third or whatever they got. I wanted Leonard Williams, but I didn't expect his price to be that high. I thought we could get him for like a fifth or the fourth at max.
Leonard Williams, Jets are getting a third-round pick in next April's draft and a fifth-round pick in 2021.
Yeah, two picks. I mean, that's a little pricey from my end. I would have given up at most a fourth only, and that's it. So I mean that if you're telling me how we got outbid by the Giants for Leonard Williams,
Who have
I'm
never made a
completely fine.
trade with the Jets before,
Yeah.
ever, to be able to give them up.
I
for-
personally am okay
What a
with
great first time
Yeah.
ever, first deal ever between those two.
Well, it makes sense why they did it. Makes sense why. It makes sense.
I wonder
makes-
if the
it makes
Jets
sense.
lied to him.
I
Well,
don't
no.
We got all these bids for him.
The Jets are probably thinking, "Oh my God, this idiot over, our neighbor. We almost have to do a deal with him. I mean, come on.
yeah.
This guy's giving us what?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
giving us what?
Yeah.
I almost imagine that call. Like, how do you not stop yourself from laughing? I imagine them sitting in the same stadium, glass wall between the two, just laughing on the other end of the phone. Like, looking at
Who did the deal? Think
Look
about
at this
it.
guy.
Think about it. That's Joe Douglas.
It's like me and Ryan looking at each other right now, laughing at each other.
That's Joe Douglas. He learned from Howie.
I know.
Well, past Howie.
Well,
Past Howie.
Maybe that's how they threw in the third. They're like, a fifth? What? Like, oh, no.
Not
so that's
2019
enough?
Howard,
That's,
more
that's
like
not enough. You need a
2017
third, too? We'll put it in there, guys.
You know what? We're going to offer you just a fifth, but we'll throw a third in there too while we're
yeah.
at it.
After seeing your reaction,
Let's see. Oh, back to
Tom.
yeah.
He
I'll do that.
comments, Slay is okay, I'm sorry, but everyone gets on their knees over guys. DB isn't an issue anymore. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Matt
He
Haxon
apologized.
says, so since none of the running back needy teams traded for a running back, do you think Jay gets on a roster soon? If so, who do you think grabs him?
I posted about this a few days ago, and this is my take. And you guys know I love Ajayi.
I'm a big Ajayi guy. I love him.
We all have been. And I've been holding out hope for him to sign somewhere all year. And you want proof? Go look at my one fantasy team. I shelved him on my bench in the hopes that he would get signed. But here's the thing. He worked out for the Colts months ago. They didn't sign him. He worked out for the Cardinals just earlier this week. They didn't sign him. If two teams chose not to sign him, and the Cardinals went and signed. I think it's who did they sign? They signed Alfred Morris.
Oh.
And then that's right. And then even the Texans weeks ago, or like at the beginning of the year, they traded for Carlos Hyde when Ajayi obviously was available.
And Duke.
The fact and got Duke. The fact that all these teams, all these running back needy teams, even the Giants, when Saquon suffered his high ankle sprain and it was believed he'd be out for several weeks, they could have went out and signed Ajayi, but they didn't. All of this is telling me something. It's telling me that Ajayi just isn't the same runner anymore. It's telling me that the two teams brought him in for a physical, and his knee injury was, and keep in mind the ACL he tore is a different knee from the one that he had issues with, but it tells me that his knee injury has affected his athleticism, his explosiveness that he once had, his agility that he once had. It's just not there anymore. So I think it's time to I think Ajayi's pretty much he's just done. And it's sad. It's very, very sad because, again, I'm a big Ajayi fan, always will be. But you got to kind of look at the trend that's been going on the past few months, and I think it's safe to say that his career's over.
Not only that, you have to kind of look bigger picture and what's going on in the league is nobody has a true feature back outside of maybe the Giants and Cowboys and Saquon and Zeke. Everyone's got a 1-2 punch. You've got Kamara and Murray, who's been going off. You've got Howard and Sanders.
Fournette. You got Fournette.
Yeah.
Did you mention the Jags? I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, Fournette's another. Yeah, but I get your point.
But everyone has somebody, and then even if they don't have a complementary, if you're looking at like Christian McCaffrey, they're not using them in that hard-nosed run like Ajayi or a Blunt are. Everyone's transitioning into, okay, we'll split you 50-50 and put a fullback or running sweeps with wide receivers back there. There's just not a need for that type of runner anymore.
Matt Haxton says Jay Ajayi's been healthy for like 2 weeks, maybe a little more. I think those teams are waiting to see if they could trade for a running back before signing him. He thinks that he could find a spot now.
He actually got medically cleared months ago. That's the thing. Dr. James Andrews, I believe it was his doctor, cleared him months ago. So he was healthy enough to...
Dr. James Andrews is like the doc.
Yeah. So he was, I believe he got cleared for I forget what it was. There's a difference, but I get what you're saying. But I mean, the Cardinals still.
I mean,
brought
listen,
him
if
in
injuries happen down the road or down the line here in the second half, and there's a team desperate enough, anything's possible. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be real hard for this guy to get on a roster now.
There are a ton of YouTube.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll fly through them. Jalen Williams says, "Yo, fam. What's up? I'm pissed." Cool P19 says, "Let the complaining begin. I'm glad we didn't get fleeced, and now I'm ready for the Eagles to go on a winning streak. Go Birds." Trayvon Dixon says, "Eagles get any trades?" No. Well, one yesterday.
Yeah. So it's not that I don't think they can have a successful second half. They have a favorable schedule for the most part, and they are going to get guys back and healthy. That being said, it's about also making moves that are going to make you be able to make some sound and make some noise in the playoffs. And I don't think they've done that. And that's the problem for me. That's where I look at this as a failure. I said to these guys earlier, I like Jannard Avery. I think that there's very good potential with this kid from everything that I'm reading about him. That being said, I think he could be a guy who can make an impact next year.
Right.
And be a depth guy maybe this year. But to me, that's not the move that you needed to make to position yourself better to make that run in the second half. And more importantly at this point, to do something in the playoffs, to be a more dangerous team in the playoffs. That's where they swung and missed in a major way. We got a guy jumping on here.
You guys are the best.
Tommy hates people.
I despise half of our following. but I love every one of them. You know what I mean?
You're not the only one, Big
I
Guy.
love everyone.
You're not the only one.
I
Big
love
Guy.
everybody.
That's not me.
Ooh. You don't want to make me louder.
Please don't do that to us.
What was the last comment read about? we should have went after one of Cleveland's young wide receivers. Did you read that, Ryan, yet?
No.
Yeah. Jalen Williams says we should have went after one of Cleveland's young wide receivers for the cheap to get some production and also replacement for Nelson. Clay says you can always hear when Tom walks in. Jalen also says also we could have kicked the tires on Charles Clay. Charles Clay, why? No, I don't know. Lindell says stupid comment from Tommy. Slay isn't just a guy; he's better than Ramsey. I'm assuming you saw that comment.
What happened?
When you made the
Lindell-
initial Slay comment.
when you made
that
the
he's-
initial Slay
that he's
comment.
just a guy.
Well, I mean, he's a little bit of a ball hawk. The ball finds him. I mean, he did have 8 picks that one year, but besides that, he's not like I'm going to leave him on an island guy. He's good.
He's not an overpay guy. He's
Yeah,
not,
you're telling me he's better than Ramsey?
No.
I mean, I need some people to just check IQ real quick. I
No
mean,
one
I
should
love
be
everybody, but we need to check IQ.
Yeah.
No one should be saying he's better than.
Listen,
there's no one better than Ramsey right now.
This is what people miss. Like, when you have the second oldest roster in football, like we do, we can't stay pat, and staying pat doesn't come down to today at 4:00. That started 3, 4, 5 weeks ago when you knew Deshaun Jackson was out, and at the time your D-backs were big question marks, huge question marks. The defensive backfield you have now isn't the same you had 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So now you have 2 guys that you've won with back there and do win with when they're both on the field at the same time in Mills and Darby. So I'm a lot more confident with my 2 dogs back there because I love Jalen Mills. I love his energy he brings to this football team. All right, and I think that translates on the football field for a lot of guys. And the comfortability now with Malcolm and Rodney having them 2 guys back. Right, just makes life easier back there and it simplifies things. And when you're simple back there, you're going to play better football. It works hand in hand. And this is what we saw in Buffalo a little bit. Granted, we know their passing attack stinks, but this is what we saw in Buffalo, and it's going to carry. We're going to see it in Chicago as long as these guys are on the field together. So that wasn't my problem, guys. My problem anymore wasn't D-back. This is why I got fired up about Slay because I was over defensive back. When Ramsey went to the Rams, I went away from defensive back. Maybe Chris Harris, but I'm not overly in love with anybody. Like they're good players. Chris Harris is old now.
They wanted a lot
Right,
for him.
Slay's
too.
28 now. So I mean,
a lot.
we're not talking about
Young guys. Yeah.
we're
they're
not talking about 24-year-old superstars.
Yeah.
Make sense? So then I look. What else is going on? Emmanuel Sanders to the Niners. That wouldn't have been a good fit here. That couldn't help this football team because you're banking a lot on Deshaun Jackson coming back, not fully going to be fully healthy. Period.
I was actually. Did I talk about that last week?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Right.
How it's
I was
perfect
saying
fit
that
there
like
for them.
it's a perfect fit for the Niners, but I feel like considering the age, it's if we had given up that much or give up more, that's a little bit of an overpayment for a 32-year-old wide receiver. And I love Emmanuel Sanders. I traded for him for fantasy, so like I love the guy, I love the player, and the fact that he's healed this quickly off of an Achilles, amazing. Absolutely, it's amazing. It's impressive. It's like Brandon Brooks kind of stuff. I just don't think that like the price was right for us when we're an aging team, like you said, and needed a younger wide receiver, whereas the Niners are a young team. They needed a veteran wide receiver.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear you to a point, but then you made my point. When you're the second oldest roster in football and you're in win now mode, I can't worry about age when it's a position of a huge weakness for me. I have to be a little bit overpay for guys that I might not like that I'm overpaying for them, but I understand the position I'm in. And now with 13 picks next year, if you gave up one of them, you still got 12. You're still able to bring a lot of young talent in if you draft well, right? So it all comes down to drafting well. But Mohamed Sanu doesn't make this football team better. I mean, somebody tell me I'm lying. Somebody tell me I'm lying because this is my issue. There's no insurance policy for Deshaun Jackson. All right, JJ can't even get on the football field. All right, well, I got other young wide receivers making plays out there. I'm disgusted. I'm so sick of people resting on 2017 bullshit anymore. All right, you put the roster together, and for Sean Spielman to criticize me about being critical of Howie, I've been critical of Howie from day one, and it's not going to change. When it comes to draft day, nobody's going to be more critical of that guy. Now, when it comes to free agent signings and so-called trades, I was a big believer. Now, you just lost me on trades, Howie. This is your roster. I didn't put this together. I didn't bring back Brandon Graham. I didn't bring back Jason Peters. I didn't bring back Darren Sproles. I didn't say I'm trying to win right goddamn now. So what you're doing right now is you're wasting a year of your franchise quarterback. That's what's happening right now. So we can sit back and say whatever we want. But in case y'all miss it, we're 4-4. And 2 weeks ago, we were all off the damn wall. And a week before, we're really off the wall 2 weeks ago. And a week before, we were hanging. Okay? Hanging. And we're all going to be okay with this. We're going to sit. This isn't the city I know. This isn't the city I know. I see a lot of people okay. Well, you can't give up too much. You got to sit on your hands sometimes and understand it. Screw it. Then don't put the second oldest roster in football together saying I'm trying to win now. Don't tell me preseason-wise it's the best roster in football, hands down, even one of the deepest. It's all been lies. So what this football team needs is people to be pissed off at them to get going. Then you need to all check what's between your legs then, if that's what it takes. I'm so sick of this football team needing to be backed in the damn corner to come out and play football.
He's a little pissed.
I'm disgusted. Because we were all too committed into this and invested into this year. We were invested in. So you invested me and you lied to me. And that's a DeMarco Murray type lie. Because that was the biggest I've ever been a part of in this city. So I'm not happy.
I hear you.
That's the biggest thing for me, right? Is you get younger in the draft and in the offseason, but when you get midseason or close to midseason and you're only a game out as far as last week goes, I'm not worrying about age. I'm only a game out. I need 1-2 pieces max to get into the lead and get myself to where I need to be. I mean, you said the Eagles are the second oldest team. Patriots are the first. We still go out and we still sign Sanu. We still look at older guys because we know that we need that one more piece to get there, and we're winning right now.
How many Super Bowls you have?
It's going to be
just tell the
7-2.
family.
It's 6 right now.
Good. And how many have you been to?
9 total. He's been to.
And listen,
you want to walk and talk? You want to walk and talk?
I get
you're
what
that
you're saying.
organization.
Let's just.
I'm gonna
be honest,
I'm gonna
though.
add to that too, though, because it's kind of what I said earlier too. It's not even necessarily about the guys that are going to get us there in the second half, because I think we can do that. But you need to have playmakers and difference makers, guys who are. Tom talking about the defensive front, guys who are going to be able to get to the quarterback or stop the run. You're going to need to have receivers, playmakers who are going to be able to make plays when you're going against the good teams in this league in a playoff run. And they didn't do anything. They sat on their hands this entire time and let guy after guy after guy fall off the board for, as Tom said earlier, I'm not taking his thunder on this, for cheaper. Now you're pressed the last day of the trade deadline when everybody's going to jack the price up to get somebody. Well, I said to you earlier, you yelled at me, but I told you I'm already accepting that nothing's going to happen today. I just had a feeling. When 11 o'clock this morning hit, and I could tell it was like going to be a league-wide thing. And my buddy, my guy I work with, who's a Giants fan, said, "Oh, man, I feel like today's going to be a lot of movement." And I said, "Dude, I don't know why, but I feel like we might not see anything today." Now, obviously, the Aqib Talib deal happened. That was
nothing.
That was it, though.
That was a salary dump.
That proves a
point. But that's the point, though. Nothing happened.
Yeah,
nothing of relevance.
I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of this franchise walking around like they're somebody that they're not. Okay? You can't.
We said on the air last year, on our show, on your show, everybody said through 2018, if we're going to have a Super Bowl hangover, we'll give them 2018. But when the next year starts, it's over. We're not champs anymore. The day they won the Super Bowl, now it's time to get back.
Let me ask you a question. This is a question then. How do you go second oldest roster in football? How are you in win now mode? And you're not all in the last 4 weeks to try to make your football team better. Just answer me this question, everybody out there. If I go out a playmaking wide receiver to this football team right now as an insurance policy for Deshaun Jackson, and if he comes back, good. We're even better then, right? We're a better football team. You tell me if this offense isn't more explosive.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's all we're missing is some explosiveness.
Absolutely.
That this isn't a completely different football team, and we can't have a real conversation about making a playoff run.
That's why you needed a wide receiver.
This is a disgrace.
That's why you needed
the guy
a wide
can't
receiver.
draft one. You can't draft one, and you can't go get one.
Tom, who's the most explosive player on our team right now?
A running back. Wendell.
Yes, thank you.
Not Wendell Small.
Thank you.
Miles Sanders.
Exactly. And
I'm so upset right now.
He's a running back. He's in the passing game. He's our most explosive receiver, and that's a problem. without Deshaun Jackson. And
mean
I will
it's
say
not
this.
Matt Collins?
I will go back and I will
Go ride another bike.
I will
Riding a bike ain't working.
Huffy.
Go get yourself a Huffy.
Little dino.
I think even for me, I have to go back and self-scout because after the draft, because Arcega-Whiteside was one of my guys. I was high on him, but then before the draft happened, I was like, Eagles are going to get a speed guy. They need speed. They need speed. They need speed. But I was so high on J-Jaw just in general as a prospect overall that when the Eagles got him, I bought into the hype. I was like, oh my God, this guy is awesome. I loved this guy for what he did. But then I put to the side the fact that we are still lacking speed. We don't have speed. And I've talked about it in my article 2 weeks ago, and then Howie's draft situation I've talked about last week in my article. Like, when you don't have what killed us, because the last 2019 we can't make any judgments on. 2018, it's still a little early, but I like some of the pieces they got there. 2017, you had how many picks? And you failed on pretty much all of them except for Derek Barnett and maybe Russell Douglas. All the rest of them are fails. They're off this team or out. And then, like, you can't
altogether, yeah.
when you had 2018, 2019, he didn't have that many picks. All right, so he didn't have a lot to work off of. I like some of the in 2018, Dallas Goedert, Avonte Maddox, and Josh Sweat. I like those picks, so I'm okay with it. But 2017, you had all those picks. And 2017, now what are you seeing the guys from 2017, especially the running backs? They're all starting to hit their stride. It's their third year. Now they're hitting their prime. They're starting to really develop and to contribute to their teams. Because we didn't hit on any of them, we have no youth. That's the issue. That year was the trump card. That's what set this team back right now. And we're paying for it right now is that draft class. And Howie's at fault for that, and so was Joe Douglas because they were in it together. Both guys deserve criticism for that failure of a draft class, and it's hurting them. It's hurting this team right now that we don't have youth and we don't have speed, and that's the honest to God truth.
Well, then as an executive and as a GM in this league, you got to go address it somehow. All right, and you need to address it, and it wasn't addressed. I mean, you got to make a deal with something. You got to bring something in to address your speed. It's to me, it's a failed opportunity. It's a complete and total failed opportunity, and I'm not okay with it.
I would have been okay. I would have been even fine with getting like just an average or just like a niche guy that just has speed. Like at least he can offer speed. Like at least he's there, and you know that he's a deep threat. And if he only catches one deep ball a game, that's fine because he will be the backup to Deshaun Jackson in case he's the insurance policy. Like I don't care. Like if Rashard Higgins from Cleveland, if you had given up a 6th round pick for him, I would have been at least been like, okay, we have some speed. You know what I mean? Like at least we have someone there that can add explosive plays down the field. But we don't right now.
But
we
you
absolutely don't.
But you talked about okay, the 2017 class not hitting right. Well, you can get away with some of them things if you're better in free agency. And you're better at trades. I mean, you can get away with them things like the Patriots do at times because they're not always perfect.
Oh no, they're not always.
So
perfect.
you know what I mean. And no team is, but the way you get away with it is by smart trades to make your football team
Smart
better,
trades.
or good free agent signings. Okay, when guys hit the market that you really like. I'm telling you, the guy's failing. He's doing everything opposite that he did in 2017. In 2017, the deadline, he went and made this football team better. In 2017, in the offseason, he made this football team better. I don't see that. I saw you bring back guys, all right, and you brought in some guys. You really didn't bring in anything special this offseason besides Deshaun.
I
liked Malik Jackson. He got hurt.
No, I'm sorry, Malik. I forgot about Malik, but I like
yeah.
Malik and I like Deshaun. But you didn't overwhelm out there. You know
what I thought was the biggest downfall this past offseason was the fact that they didn't learn from what happened in 2018. Week 2, Mike Wallace goes down with an injury out for the year. There goes our deep threat. There goes our one deep threat. So you would think
it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. You would think that, okay, the team wouldn't learn and be like, okay, 2018, we lost our one deep threat. We need to get multiple guys. And that's what I mean. It's like, I knew that going to the draft, but because I was hyped about J-Jaw, I put that aside, and I shouldn't have. I never addressed it after that, and that's on me for,
But what do we have in 2017?
It's exactly
now?
the point.
Chucks, what do we have in 2017?
We still had Torrey Smith.
We had speed, yeah.
You had speed, that's what I'm saying.
Torrey, Nelly, And that made Alshon look faster than he is because
that's what
now
I'm
he's
saying.
getting a lot.
You
now he's
had
getting
those
one-on-one over
explosive
top.
plays, but when Mike Wallace went down 2018, that should have been the learning point right there. That should have been like, we need more speed, but they neglected that, and they never got Deshaun Jackson. We love Deshaun Jackson, but we know he's not the healthiest guy. He's not the most durable guy. So there should have been an insurance policy for Deshaun, but there was none. And for weeks 2 to now, 2 to 8, we are seeing what has happened to this offense is the fact that without that deep threat, we were so reliant on what Deshaun does that this offense isn't able to do what they want to do.
What do mobile quarterbacks need more than any other quarterback when they get outside the pocket? What do they need on the outside?
They need speed on the outside to get separation.
You look at Russell Wilson; he's got speed all on the outside. You look at Deshaun Watson; got speed all on the outside.
Patrick
right?
Mahomes,
speed all over the place.
You see the Chiefs? You see how much speed?
Yeah.
Matt Moore is lighting it up, and because they have freaking speed at their skill positions, it's insane.
And that's
all over.
And that's a difference maker here, right?
See, I don't even think that they really necessarily needed to go out and get a speed guy that would, it's a pure speed play on anything because we were talking earlier, where's most of their big plays coming from? 21 personnel. What do the Patriots do? They have no speed. Their number one receiver right now is Julian Edelman, a slot guy, and then their second, Philip Dorsett. Oh, another slot guy.
But I was going to say this earlier. No one's Bill though. Like it's hard. Like Bill is Bill.
But you can simplify. You guys are already doing it. All you need is a body. If all I need is a body that goes out and blocks, and I can run stuff out to my speedy running backs, I don't need to go and spend big money if I can get Mohamed Sanu. He's not fast. He's not a big over-the-top speedy guy. Juju is, or Julio is.
Yeah, well, Julio is everything. Yeah, you're right.
All you need is something.
Muhammad used to be more of a. Muhammad used to be a lot faster. For his size,
Right.
but you're right. Nowadays he's more of a possession guy, and he'll break tackles.
Right.
And
He's
he
a good
can throw
yards
the ball.
after. And he can throw. He's a good yards after catch guy now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If you went out and got at least something,
Okay.
He can throw.
No, you're right.
if you went out and got something to
Right,
just lean on the other pieces that you
I
have,
think-
something would have worked.
I
But
think to your point, that's what. Now that we don't have the speed, this is what the offense is going to need to do from now on. The coaching has to rely, and I said to you guys pre-show, I don't know if Tom you were here, 3 weeks in a row, 3 touchdowns. Miles Sanders touchdown against the Vikings, Dallas Goedert against the Cowboys, Miles Sanders against the Bills. All 3 of those plays were scored on 21 personnel with 2 running backs on the field at the same time. What does the Eagles? What are the other personnel package that the Eagles do well with? 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. You're going to need to stop putting Mac freaking Hollins on the field. Stop playing so much in 11 personnel and really rely on these other packages of 12 personnel and 21 personnel, because that puts 2 talented running backs on the field. That puts your 2 talented tight ends on the field.
Get your best players on the
best
field.
players on the field
At the same time.
and get stuff moving.
Because you would be if Sproles was playing, he would be running a lot of more 21 personnel with Sproles and Howard. So now you know that Miles can do it. It's been proven. So now you need to start doing it with them. You're right.
Matt Haxton says this is what they should do. Dallas Goedert is one of the better blocking tight ends in the league. Start motioning him into the backfield and have him block like a fullback in the.
So there's an H-back row.
Well,
I mean,
the way Jordan Howard blocked, I don't need nobody else to block.
You see, that's beautiful.
I mean,
It's beautiful. Matt Milano.
Jordan Howard, to me, has to be signed after this year. I'm sorry.
It should be done already.
I love Miles, but he's not an every down back right now. So let's use him as what he is.
But use up.
You know what I mean? Let's use him
what we
for
said earlier.
for
Nobody
12 touches a game. It's perfect for him right now.
Split the reps with 2 running backs.
But Jordan Howard needs 20 carries to me.
We've seen
Every
it.
team is
Two
going
running
that
back.
way.
2 running back system is the way to go. You need
Every team's going
ideally, you guys know I'm the biggest Miles Sanders fan there is. But ideally, I want him to be partnered with someone. I want it to be a 2-back system because that'll extend Miles Sanders' career, and I want to see him play for a long time. And 2, it's just the best thing to do on the team because when you rely on a feature back, like once that guy gets hurt, it's done. Like you're done. Look at the Rams. Todd Gurley got hurt late last year. They were done. I want a 2-back system. If Jordan Howard can be had at a reasonable price, you got to sign him again. You got to extend him.
Well, because the way I look at it is when you hit the hole like Jordan does, and it's pound, 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 right? And you start pounding that down a team's throat, and then next thing you know, you got a different guy back there, and it's boom. to the hole, and a linebacker's like, holy shit, where they? You know what I mean?
It's a different pace.
It's a
That
different
guy.
pace.
It's a different pace.
So that matters. That matters big time, and that's why I like me personally. Like if I can get Miles 10 touches, and even if it's 5 carries, 5 out of the backfield, whatever it is, and then I can get Jordan Howard 20 carries.
Yeah.
That means I know I'm in a good spot that game.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm in a football game, or I had a lead early. Because you see, as soon as you get a lead early, everything gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
You get a 3-0 lead, everything just becomes a little bit easier. But
Do we have 9? So the Eagles have 9 picks this year.
somebody told me, I read somewhere they had 12 or 13. Maybe it's conditionals coming over.
Bobby,
Probably.
factor in conditionals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well,
As of now, 9.
it's going to get up to probably 12. But I mentioned 12 because I saw somewhere that they could have up to 13.
The Golden Tate one
Whatever.
might factor in, but
Yeah.
the Niners releasing Jordan Matthews might cancel that out. But the Nick Foles one was the big one. Jags signing him to that contract almost pretty much guarantees us getting a 3rd-round comp pick.
So Matt Haxton wants to know, OMG, I'm so sick of hearing Sanders isn't an every down back. What makes him not an every down
it's
back?
not the fact that he can't be; it's the fact that we prefer him not to be.
Yeah,
That's the two. Are there running backs that can carry the load? Yes, but do you want him to?
And he's,
Do I want him
and
to-
he's
do I want
not
him
that
to last?
guy this year either. I mean,
He's a rookie.
he's had great moments, but he's had moments where he's completely missed a massive hole in front of his face.
I love Matt, and like Charles, Miles is his son, and that's fine. But what I'm trying to say to you is, and what everybody's trying to say to you is that with the Thunder and Lightning, you're so much more effective.
Yeah.
That guy is so much more effective now. So if he gets 12 touches a game, what's the big deal?
Who cares?
Would you not want
It'll
Jordan
lead to
Howard?
win.
Jordan Howard is 4.5 yards a carry essentially, and never gets tackled on the first hit. I want that as I need that power.
The beautiful thing about what they do is, and I know it's cheesy, but we've been saying it, is they're thunder and lightning. That you get what one gives you, the other one, what one doesn't give you, the other one does. And what you said, Tom, it's like a change of pace. The defense will get one thing from one guy, but then they have to completely account for what the other guy does. It's dangerous, and
It's harder to game plan.
it's so hard to game plan. The Miles Sanders touchdown, okay, 21 personnel, both line up in the backfield, offside of Carson Wentz. If I were to tell you who's getting the rock up the middle, up the gut, 9 times out of 10, who would you think it would be? Between Howard and Sanders up the gut. Howard, correct?
Yep.
But no, the change up of Carson faking to Howard, going with Sanders, I guarantee that absolutely caught the defense off guard. Because now they're going from, all right, we're going to expect just a pounding with Howard to, oh my God, one break and Sanders is gone out the backfield.
Yep.
Once he gets to the second level with Howard's block, he was gone. He was done. He was absolutely done with. So I like having both, and I'm the biggest Sanders fan, guys. But I love having both on there.
Thanks for jumping in, Dad.
All right, big daddy.
I'm
Love
not
ya.
sick.
I heard you coughing.
I was coughing because I haven't talked in a week.
We let him in. What else do you want? Love you, Dad.
This is so. How do you do this? This is so loud. Oh my God!
Oh, I don't
Oh
even
my
know.
God. Matt Butera says, "Yeah, Howard is a beast on that block. 2 for the huge run." Am I talking? Am I
God,
talking?
if
You hear
Chuck
it?
started yelling, I might have my eardrums went
That's how you're supposed to be with.
That was fun, Daddy. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh my God.
It literally sounds like this. It literally sounds like that.
That was a spot on clip.
I feel bad. You got listening to me on the mic like that.
Oh.
God. Good God.
Uh,
Anthony Aide says Tommy is everywhere.
see, Bill said because when it's 1st and goal and inside the 5, he can't gain a yard. That's why you need both.
not only that, if you look at it, Sanders is smaller for a feature back type of guy that you don't have anyone else around, that you need to lean on a heavy pass game for, which, newsflash, your pass game's hurt. So where do you have to lean?
Well,
A
I don't
run
want to
game.
go. I don't go with small. I mean, like you've had smaller backs.
But to be the
McCoy.
only guy back there with no pass game, though. I mean, when you had LaShawn McCoy and he was lighting it up, you were always afraid that let's RPO not give it to him and throw it down the field at Deshaun. Deshaun's not there. He's not here now. So what do you have to do? Expand your backfield and have more options out of there because you're not. Because there's no
passing
fear
game
one.
isn't completely gone.
But there's no fear one way or the other. You.
I get overall what you're saying. I think the semantics are a little off, but I get overall what your point is.
Chris Rico wonders if Boston Scott will get more involved. He's quick.
It depends. I mean, it depends on the injury to Miles Sanders.
I thought he looked all right the other day.
Hang on
he
to the
looks fine.
freaking ball.
Yeah,
can hang on to the
just hang on
friggin'
the
ball.
Well,
ball. Hang on to the ball.
that's for sure.
But he looks dynamic, and this is what I was talking about last year when I was like, hey, we got Boston Scott, and everyone was like, who cares? No, but this is what I'm talking about.
I definitely think there's a role for him.
The guy has promise as a scat back, a returner, and occasional get one or two catches out of the backfield.
Ralph announcing to the fam that he's here. Thanks for joining us, Ralph. We appreciate
Get out,
you.
Ralph. Get out.
Hey Ralph, while you're here, we got a L over here for you. You can pick it up. Pick it up anytime you want.
Ralph, word on the street is you took a big L this week to Kevin in fantasy football. In the
I heard
A2D
that
league.
too.
Oof.
That is facts.
Sorry, buddy. Do we want to save the Bears, or we'll save the Bears game for the next half?
Yeah.
Second half of the show.
Sounds good with me.
We have more trades. We should get into some of the other trades too.
Well, we're about 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, in the second half. Yeah,
The one thing I wanted to quickly add, and I sent this to Chrome as well, and we're not sure if it's 9 picks, if it's going to be 13.
It's at least 9.
The point of the matter is, and like I sent to Chrome, I sent to Tom as well, in past years, in 2017 and in 2018, we had far less picks at our disposal. And what did Howie do? He went aggressive in a year where he did not have a lot of draft capital.
Right.
The year to where he has way more picks at his disposal to trade away for said player.
He doesn't.
He gets passive. It's backwards to me.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And like we were talking before, we went on the air earlier. And I was saying, and listen, the coaches play a part in this. Hell, the medical staff plays a part in this.
They all do. Everyone in the building.
But because of what we saw not only today, but the last handful of weeks of not getting the players that we all wanted and we thought they needed, if, for example, Deshaun Jackson, A, doesn't come back at all, or B, doesn't come back at full health, or C, gets hurt again, I go to Howie Roseman for blame because you could have supplied a backup option. If Timmy Jernigan, one of those three things happen, he doesn't come back fully healthy, or he gets hurt again, I'm going to Howie Roseman. Mm-hmm. He had 3 opportunities, early part of the offseason, second part of the offseason, and now throughout the entire regular season, to throw backup options in. And listen, I don't promote this, but I would have been fine with a Band-Aid, like we were talking about. Mm-hmm. As much as I would have loved a Micah Fitzpatrick, Jalen Ramsey, a big-time wide receiver, even a Robbie Anderson, for example, a Mike Evans, an A.J. Green, whatever. We didn't even see any minor moves except for, the one from yesterday. That's it.
Yeah. We'll continue to talk about it on the other side. If you're on Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, jump over to Facebook or the YouTube, continue the chat. Comments are flying today, guys. Draft deadline has passed. We'll continue to talk about that. We can touch on some Bills if we want to talk about Eagles-Bills. We got Eagles-Bears coming up this week. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Shout out to our sponsors, Gibson Mayer. Shout out to Specialized Physical Therapy. Me, Chucks, Kevin, Mr. Brodo.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. We'll catch you on the other side. What up, fam? We're back. Birds of a Feather, Tuesday night, a2dradio.com from the Real Talk Studios. Brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. Find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. No appointment necessary. You can also find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal, our guy, go see him. Our topic of conversation tonight, we talked about it earlier. We're probably going to bypass it at this point, but the Orlando Scandrick comments helped to unite this team. Agree, disagree. We can continue to talk about that if you guys want to. Made the jump from Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, over to the Facebook or the YouTube. We appreciate you. Lots of comments flying. We're ready to rock and roll. Moving on, there were some of the other deals I think we wanted to try to talk about. So let's do that. Obviously, today, Aqib Talib traded from the Rams to the Miami Dolphins in a salary dump. Interesting move in a sense of this could be now a trend-setting move for teams going forward to where if you're looking to re-sign guys in the offseason or to open up space, obviously, to bring in other talent, you can essentially pay somebody to take them for all intents and purposes by giving them an additional draft pick on top of it. And that's what Miami acquired. So I think he's owed $4.2 million, I think, is what's the remainder of his deal. He's probably never going to play it down for Miami. He's on the IR. But essentially, Miami is paying $4.2 million for a fifth-round draft pick. It's kind of the way it's looked at. So this could be something new. It's an interesting move. It makes sense for Miami with the cap space they have. He's going to come off the books next year. It's more draft capital for them going forward. It's interesting now that's the new term, draft capital.
Draft assets.
Draft assets.
Assets.
See the bottom right-hand corner?
Breaking, retiring Aqib Talib.
Read the caption.
It's not true, by the way.
You can blur the
Nah,
caption.
man, F this.
Nah, man, F this. I'm retiring.
A lot of people were saying that if they were him, that they wouldn't even get on the plane.
Yeah.
Just say, call me if you need me. I'll be.
He's never going to play it down for them. This was more of the Rams opening up money so they can re-sign Jalen Ramsey. And, again, Miami just getting another draft pick for themselves.
Did I ever tell you the reason why Ramsey was traded there? Why the Rams traded for him? Because on the surface,
I heard you imply before we went on the air that there was more to the story.
So I have this source. So this is just not me spitting nonsense out here. So the reason why, because I think we would all agree, us in here and then the people in the chat, that when we saw they were going to the Rams, number one, we talked about, like I texted you guys, I knew it was happening. But it was weird. It was just like, why them? Because, number one, their biggest need wasn't cornerback, two, or the money situation. So at first we thought, okay, that's weird. Football-wise, doesn't make sense. So apparently what it was, and I'll be vague here, so they did it not for necessarily football reasons. The ownership group, the GMs, the officials out with the Rams, they have the understanding that on the surface and probably going in the future, it's not a great football move, and it's going to hurt them as far as capital, and their books over the next 2 years are going to be an absolute nightmare. The reason why they did it, the reason why I pushed them to really go and make a panic move, because that's what it was, if you recall that week, they were coming off of an embarrassing loss to the 49ers. Mm-hmm. When Jared Goff was struggling, the team they looked like a shell of themselves. They have to sell PSLs for the new stadium next year. Mm-hmm. They have to drive interest. And the market, they felt, and it's correct, that the L.A. market, which we all know, listen, there are fans, but the fans are kind of casuals out there, not like Philadelphia.
Not kind of.
Kind of?
It is a very transparent,
that was a soft
casual
take.
fan
Yeah,
base.
they're very
There's
casual.
no doubts that it's a casual fan.
They were losing interest in the Rams and football because of the incoming NBA season with the Clippers and the Lakers. We obviously understand why that's a big storyline. So they did it because they know going forward they need a face of the organization. They have the understanding that Jared Goff, he's okay, but he's boring as hell. He's Jared Goff. Todd Gurley, number one, he's hurt a lot, and he's pretty freaking quiet. Is that the Nationals?
I don't know.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Jesus, man.
Nationals take the lead, 2 solo homers in this inning.
So they needed a face of the company, the face of the team. And as we knew down in Jacksonville, he's one of the bigger stars, bigger personalities in the NFL. So that's why they did it. It's for branding reasons, not necessarily football reasons. And also, like we talked about up until this point, we're not 100% sure that he will re-sign there. But this is why they're panicking and they're removing a lot of money from their books because they need him to, not for only football reasons, but mostly because of branding. So that's why they did it.
Makes sense. Stupid sense, but makes sense. Very LA.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very, very
Very
LA.
on brand
I mean,
of them.
particularly because, a lot of – even if you look at the Lakers, you look at the teams in LA, and it's not – it's very transplanted, and it is. It's more of a social gathering to go to a sporting event in LA than it is here where it's in the Northeast. And I'm not just talking about Philadelphia. I'm talking about New York and Boston and these kind of areas where you have that diehard fan base that continue to go to games. It's just a very different vibe and different environment down there. So, a team like us up here, or maybe the Giants, or maybe even, the Patriots, it is about the football moves in the end. You have to worry about that, particularly because they're going to have a new stadium coming that they're going to have to be able to draw people into this stadium. So, whatever. That's all I got with that. Anybody?
Rams suck.
Yeah.
Going
We
ahead.
have not had our resident Rams fan in here tonight either.
He was in earlier.
Oh, was he?
Oh, I must have missed him.
Yeah.
Was he?
He was just talking about the Nationals.
Before we touch on other trades, Jannard Avery. Quick thoughts.
I'll tell you after Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll tell you after Sunday.
Well, initially, I think
I don't know a lot about this guy, but you've kind of tipped me off on some stuff that you've looked up. He seems to be a guy. Wow, that was
That's the second time he's done that in this series.
Yeah. You look at this guy. It's a guy who clearly this Cleveland fan base is not happy to be losing
at all.
They had a hashtag for him.
Yeah, it's
Hashtag free Jannard.
Yeah.
It's very unusual for a guy that's not well known. But maybe it's just, we talked about it before. Maybe it's not a scheme fit. I think we were saying in our chat, Chucks, I think it's in a 3-4, he's an outside linebacker.
Correct, yeah.
In the 4-3, he's more of a defensive end, which is maybe what's more suited for him to succeed consistently in this league. And maybe he just wasn't a scheme fit for what they saw. But it sounds like he's a guy who can, get after the pass rush, a guy who can help stopping the running game, which is something that's a strength for us. It sounds like he's got a bit of a motor. I mean, it seems like he's very niche in his skill set, though.
Yeah.
But I like it. Maybe, again, a change of scenery, a new scheme will maximize this guy, and maybe he will be a player, Who knows? But I just didn't knock me over, but I'm happier than I initially was when I heard about it.
I'm intrigued. I think that's the proper terminology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interested.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I don't know if you guys remember last year was my first offseason with A2D, and I was tasked by Greg of putting together a big board for the draft, and so I did the most research on any draft I've ever done, and Avery was a guy, I guess, one of the deeper picks at the edge position that I had just missed because I didn't have an evaluation on him, so I wasn't familiar with him. He was in last year's draft, so that's why I was surprised. I didn't know much about him. It's confusing because of his position. Because as I was doing research on his prior scouting reports, a lot of people were saying him like linebacker, and I'm like, linebacker, like he's only been playing on the edge, and so as I was watching film and looking up other. I looked up a few of his. There's a lot of film to go through last year because he played in every game, but only hit 50% of the snaps. But if you're familiar with Game Pass, you can't look up a specific player, depending on what type of position they are. Like it's complicated, but the NFL Game Pass is not the most user-friendly software. I'll just say that. But it's a lot to go through to find Avery snaps. But what I saw, he played specifically on the edge, and so what I'm guessing is that in college he played a lot of linebacker, off the ball, so that's where the whole linebacker thing came from. But looking at his skill set, he's not that great in coverage, and he's not a great run defender. But what can he do? He can rush the passer. So, when he was with Cleveland playing on the edge, even though he was standing up, he was still rushing the passer very, very well. He's short, but he's stocky. He's 6'1", thickly built. So he's kind of like in more of the mode of a Brandon Graham, as Jim Schwartz says. Like he's thick and powerful.
Visually looking at him, that's exactly who he reminded me of.
So when he's coming here to 4-3, he's most likely not going to be playing standing up because we don't have our edge rushers do that often. Even with the defense, I know Kevin, you probably see this all the time. The Patriots like to play with multiple kinds of fronts. So even though they might play 3-4, one down, the next down they might be in a 4-3. So it's multiple. But the Eagles don't do that. They strictly play with 4 down linemen. So Avery's going to be playing that. And from what I've seen and reported, he's like I said, he's a niche guy, only rushes the passer, but he's damn good at it. He's pretty good at it. And I was looking back on other scouting reports. A lot of the talent evaluators and scouts that I trust and I follow, they had him around that 4th round range. So he was picked in the 5th round, but a lot of Eagles fans were like, he was only picked in the 5th round. Why are we giving him 4th rounder for him? Well, because that was where he was projected on a lot of boards, and that's where the Eagles wanted to take him. And so a 4th round for Avery, I'm perfectly fine with it, especially after seeing all these Browns fans react, even saying we only got a 4th. They're pissed. I was checking out more Twitter reactions this morning, and it's the same thing. Every single fan is we got fleeced. We can't believe this. They're so mad that they lost Avery for only a 4th. So I'm going to put weight on that, and we'll say this is an intriguing pick.
Here's my question for you, Chuck, because you mentioned it, that the Patriots do like to play many schemes, whatever way you want to put it. They usually have 6 up on the line and drop whatever they're not having on the line out. Almost on every play you'll see it to some extent. Do you think having a versatile guy like Avery will allow them to do that, or you don't think they'll try to do anything?
He's just going to be rushing the passer. I'd be very surprised if they have him drop back for stuff.
Well, not saying him per se drop back, but switch up 3-4-4-3.
No, because Jim Schwartz doesn't
just because
do that.
He can be in.
Jim Schwartz sticks to his 4-man front, and then incorporates his wide 9 when applicable. And Schwartz's wide 9. Let's set the record straight. It's not like Jim Washburn's wide 9 from when we were, from 2012, where he strictly only plays the guys out in the 9 technique. Schwartz, he plays them inside, but it's a wide 9 technique because that's what he likes to go to in pass rushing situations, is he spreads them out. But I don't see him changing that, especially because if you're going to change that, you're going to have to get, if you're going to change it to multiple fronts, you're going to need a nose guard, someone who can plug that middle and play two gap technique. And there's no one on the Eagles that can play 2 gap right now. They're all 1 gap pass rushers. Right. There's no one that can plug up the middle and just be a space eater like that anymore. We don't have anyone, so there's no one that makes sense to play multiple fronts like that. But I like the Avery. I do like the Avery pick. The more I learn, the more I'm like, okay, this could be a find. And I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar. I'm just saying, for a 4th round pick, what do you look for? If you can get a solid player, a good rotational guy, that's a good. You hit on the
Deep
pick.
Rotational
Yeah,
guys.
you hit on the pick. So that's what I'm kind of hoping this Avery turns out to be.
Is there anybody who didn't get moved at the deadline that you're surprised?
Vaitai.
Big V.
I am very shocked that he didn't get moved.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
The other thing I was told was that, the Vaitai market was all waiting for Trent Williams. Trent Williams wasn't getting moved. Vaitai, it was for sure he was going to get moved because he was the plan B.
With the Redskins, what are you doing? Why?
No. There's many layers to that are just weird. Their storyline all last night and this morning was, we're not going to reward him for holding out on us, therefore we're not going to send him to a winning team. And then 2 seconds after they say that, he reports. Now he's friends with them again.
No, he came back out after the fact and said, "I don't plan on playing."
Then why did he report?
He came in.
He has to.
said, I'll make nice, but I don't plan on playing.
What the hell's the difference?
What a mess.
What the
Trying
hell
to
is
see if I
he
can
came
pull
in
it
to
up.
just
I think
tell us
there's-
what he was doing anyway?
Yeah, I think there's a like if you report you're with the team, but you can choose. I'm assuming you can choose not to play. Like similar to what Ramsey did. Like he reported to the team, but he was injured.
So what? They're going to put him on the season-ending IR or something?
I don't know.
Well-
I don't know.
Well, then it's
We'll
going to
see.
be a TO thing
It's a
where they're going to have to
mess.
send him home.
It's a mess.
Because
Regardless
then
of
he's
it,
going to
it's
be an
a
issue in the
mess.
locker room.
Listen, he was injured, Ramsey, but thankfully he got healthy just in time
He rose up
for
like
the trade.
He rose
Yeah.
up like the freaking Undertaker as soon as he got
Timing
to LA.
timing was impeccable. Impeccable.
How about outside of the Eagles? Anybody you're surprised didn't get moved?
Didn't get moved.
I mean, Robbie Anderson's one.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was never sold on that one, to be honest.
Just in general, not with the Eagles. I'm shocked he didn't get moved.
No, I think it was only the Eagles.
I'm surprised. I am surprised that multiple players, or at least one from the Bengals, did not get moved. The Bengals are, they just benched Andy Dalton. They're playing Ryan Finley.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah, happy
Andy
birthday,
Dalton.
Andy Dalton. You get benched. Surprised they didn't move anyone, like anyone.
AJ Green. I don't know why they're not moving on from him. I don't get it. Makes no sense.
Free AJ Green, please. He deserves better than Cincinnati. But
So this report here says, although he reported, Trent Williams has no intention of playing this season.
So they're just going to send him home then.
Yeah.
Whatever.
because I think he had to report for financial reasons or something like that. I'd have to
Andy
look more into it.
Atkinson says Geno Atkins. Surprised he didn't get moved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying from the Bengals. Like it makes no sense to me. What are you doing? But the Cincinnati and Washington are like we can make fun of that the Dolphins are tanking all we can, but I mean they have a direction at least. Like the Cincinnati and Washington, they're just a mess of a franchise right now.
Josh Norman. I know they were trying to move him. Not surprised he
Yeah,
didn't get
same.
moved though because that deal is insane.
And
Isn't he
not-
hurt
he's
right
not
now
that
too?
good.
And he's hurt right now.
I think he's hurt. Yeah.
So I mean, that's another thing.
yeah.
I think he ranked. I'll give you the number. Give me a minute. With Josh Norman of
And he just wasn't playing well.
no.
And if
He
some,
wasn't playing
and
well.
he's
No,
a
not
guy
at all.
we've
Hold on.
seen that if the culture starts to go south, that he's going to be an issue. I don't want Josh Norman here.
Yeah. I know.
Josh
wouldn't-
Norman from Pro Football Focus grades him number 98 overall corner out of 112 full timers.
And you know
What
how
a
I
fall
feel
from
about
grace for him.
you know how I feel about PFF grades, but at least it is a baseline and it does show that like yeah, it's bad. He's not good anymore.
You can say this is semantics, but again, in context, it makes sense why his ranking. Every defensive player on that team is going to be ranked bad because of the time of possession. You know what I'm talking about, and especially with the turnover rate to where, you know, the Redskins are turning the ball over on their side of the field. Therefore, the opposing offense gets the ball with short field. Therefore, the cornerbacks are going to be more exposed. So I'm not saying that in reality he's a top 10 cornerback. I'm not saying that at all. But I get we have to throw into where anybody on the Dolphins, on the friggin' Bengals, on the Redskins, to where their offense can't stay on the field, and when they are on the field, they're turning the ball over. It's going to kind of be skewed a little bit.
Yeah, Jamal Adams didn't get moved.
Well, with the storylines on how
No,
he was.
Joe wanted like a lot. They are Cowboys apparently offered
Ramsey
a first.
deal. They wanted the Ramsey deal.
Yeah.
They wanted a little bit less than the Ramsey deal.
But he didn't want to go anywhere. He didn't
didn't.
even know that he was being shopped.
He just
Yeah.
he put out a message or like a tweet or something.
Yeah, he was irate. He went
He
to
was
the
mad.
office and said, you're going to shop me behind my back.
Yeah.
Like, at least have, you say, hey, up front, this is what we're doing. If you have any input, let
Because
us know.
he went to Gase earlier in the week and said he wants to be here.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be here, and then they shopped him.
And I think that Ryan Clark, who's on ESPN, he was saying he came out this morning and said that he wants to go back to Dallas.
Well, he said that after the fact. I think he said that either Dallas or the Texans, because he's from Texas in general.
So he was
Yeah, he wa-
speculating. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a thing. Yeah. I mean,
I would have loved to have seen O.J. Howard get moved.
well,
Talk about-
that's another one.
Talk about trying to get guys out.
Yeah.
Like, he deserves better. I'm sorry. He deserves better. Mike Evans deserves better.
Chris Godwin.
I mean, he's
Well,
at
I
least
mean, it's
he's
working for him.
Yeah.
He's like the third best wide receiver in fantasy.
Mike Evans
number
actually
one.
has
Number
actually
one. Thank you. Hi.
Mike Evans has actually played well though lately.
Yeah.
He's like put together, they deserve better.
Yeah, the Patriots called on both Eifert and Howard, and was told that Eifert could move, but they priced him way too high for what he's been putting up, especially with the injuries.
Bengals,
And-
come on. Like,
I'm kind of surprised the quarterback wasn't traded.
Yeah. I mean, particularly what's going on in Denver right now.
oh yeah, Flacco.
Apparently, it's not as bad as it seems because he went out and got second opinions, and now they're saying surgery is not needed.
Well, Flacco called out coaching, and then apparently I didn't read it, and then Elway responded back to his quotes or something like that.
Yeah, and said he called out coaching on locker room presence and play calling, and then Elway came back and said, "Thank you. It finally took you 8 weeks to realize what we're trying to put in place here with the team."
That wasn't a real quote.
Well-
Oh, it wasn't a real quote?
No, it's a troll quote. You think he's gonna say?
I mean,
Think about what he's saying. He's basically saying we're trying to build a soft culture here. You think
Yeah.
Elway's gonna say that, Kevin? Come on
So-
now.
It is John Elway.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Jenkins and Ogletree in New York. Other names that were floated out there.
Andy Atkinson says, "Is anyone surprised Aguilar wasn't moved? Unrestricted free agent. Will he be gone?"
I'm surprised.
He'll be gone. I can't say I'm surprised just because they are so desperate right now for anything on the field.
Well, there's no
I'm not
market for
surprised
him.
being this late. If it was a week ago,
I think somebody
would
would
say
have taken a
yes.
shot. I don't know if you would have got a lot for him.
for a guy who can't catch a ball.
There's
If
people
they
that
had,
will
what
go-
market's for
if
him?
they,
There's
if they
people
were
that
able
will go
to,
back to 2017.
if they were
and
able
look
to
at
get a
that
wide
year.
God
receiver,
bless him.
I can see them moving Aguilar. But I think the fact that they weren't able to get a wide receiver made them not get one.
They would have had to make 2 trades. Defensive side, deal Aguilar, and then
Yeah.
get something back,
Something like that.
pick side to get a
Get like a
receiver.
6th round pick for him or
Yeah.
something
You
like
know
that.
what they should have done? They should have traded him in the off season when I said it then.
Yeah.
Me and you
And
both.
everybody gave me a hard time on this network.
Not everybody, Chrome. Not everybody.
I did.
You
I
did.
did.
Tom did. I got
did.
destroyed, and I said he's just a guy.
I did. No,
Not
I'm not.
I.
I'm not
I
going
know.
to hide from it.
I know.
I did.
That's when they should have moved him.
Trying to pull up the free agent wide receivers, and so we could play a game of who'd you rather him
$9
fill in the blank
million.
or Matt Collins.
They're not even paying him.
God.
They're donating $9
Can we
million
talk
to
about
that
this?
guy's
Can we
fucking
talk about this
contract.
real quick because
Matt Collins?
I've been getting really pissed off at some people. Is the fact that
Listen, Jordan Matthews is an upgrade over Matt Collins.
thank you.
not
a
Like, can we-
debate.
If you don't think that, you don't know a fucking thing about
Thank you.
football.
Thank you. Everyone, like I bring that up, right?
A guy
And
who
then
doesn't
everyone's
even
like,
wanna
"Oh,
play
Jordan
wide receiver.
Jordan Matthews sucks." Well, even if he does suck, is he as bad as Matt Collins? No. There's no way you can prove to me, show me anything to show me that Matt Collins is
This
better
is what
than Jordan
pisses
Matthews.
me off about the Jordan Matthews argument, okay? This guy was called Droptimus Prime because of one really bad year of dropping footballs. But over his career, he was pretty sure-handed early in his Eagles career up until that year, for the most part. But yet I've seen for year after year after year passes given to Nelson Aguilar by everybody in this fan base. For a guy who 1 year had a real shitty year, as opposed to a guy who had one good year catching the football. What a bunch of hypocrites you are.
You know what's
You're a bunch of hypocrites who don't know shit.
what's a shame is last year
We pick our
Because
favorites and we pick on other guys.
when Jordan Matthews has to be the number one, that's when you're in trouble. That's when he had all those drops. So as your number one, he's not gonna.
He was
he's
never
not
number one.
No, 2016, he was the top receiver.
No, I'm saying though he was never actually a number
like,
one.
like a talent wise, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. But he was slotted to be our best wide receiver, and he's not that. Like, he can't be that.
Also, what is he?
2000, what?
Also, what is he?
He's a slot wide receiver.
No, what is he? Think about it.
He's a veteran.
Culture-wise, what is he?
Oh, he's a locker room guy.
He's a Carson guy.
Yeah. So, for all the everyone that was saying, "Oh, no, drops," last year in the fourth wide receiver role, which is what he would be now,
He was fine.
he had
One drop.
one drop.
He was like the best
One.
receiver in the playoff game against the Saints.
He
Think about it.
came up with some crucial catches. So, if you're telling me as a fourth wide receiver, if you're telling me that he could do similar stuff to what he did last year, that's completely better than what anything Mac Hollins is doing. Mac Hollins is playing how many snaps? And he's had no catches the past 2 or 3 weeks. None. No targets the past 2 weeks. He's doing nothing on offense. So don't give me that Mac Hollins is better than Jordan Matthews, because that's false. That is absolutely false. And it's not saying, like, everyone's like, people are like, oh, he's not the answer. We never said he was the answer. We just said that he's an upgrade from Mac Hollins.
If you have 5 guys in your wide receiving core and one guy is better than any of those 5 guys, you upgraded your wide receiving core.
For anybody who,
Whether it's the number 1 or the number 5, it's an upgrade.
for
It's common sense.
for anybody who doesn't and isn't sure whether or not Jordan Matthews is an upgrade over Mac Hollins, ask yourself this question. Do you believe Jordan Matthews is good enough to catch one pass over the next 8 games? If your answer is yes, he's better than Mac Hollins. That's it. I'm not saying he's got to score a touchdown.
Done.
He's got to catch one pass for 1 yard. If the answer's yes, he's better than Mac Hollins. And, I know what you're thinking. Oh, but guys, Mac Hollins, he's good on special teams. Really? Like what we saw when he ran into the punter and he tried to kill him and his family.
He's had no tackles on special teams, and
That's what.
Yeah.
Except for when he ran into the kicker or the punter.
tackles on special teams.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
That's what I was going to bring up. Is that I could see as one thing if you're fourth, fifth, sixth receiver, if you've got him on the team. Like the Patriots got him. We have Nate Ebner. You've never really seen him on the field outside of special teams. We've got Slater. Yeah, we've got guys all over the place that they play special teams, but they have to take up another spot because there's no roster spot that says special teams on it.
Yeah.
That's what he should be, but because he sucks so bad on special teams, okay, let's see, maybe he'll catch a ball this time. Oh wait, no. There's no room for that guy.
And it's not like, because it's not like, oh God, why am I forgetting his name? Chris Maragos. Like, you knew when Chris Maragos was on special teams, you knew he was on special teams. He made his presence known. Play after play, he would have punt blocks. He would pin the ball down on the 1 yard line. Like, he did multiple. Like, you knew he was out there. Like, Matt Collins is supposed to be great on special teams, but what has he done on special teams this year to make his name stand out? Nothing. Nothing.
You know what he's actually been good for? About 5 illegal blocking the backs.
Yeah, he's done
I'm not joking. I mean, that's
So,
a legitimate thing.
I don't want to hear the Mac Hollins truthers out there trying to make a case for Mac Hollins because they don't want Jordan Matthews.
I swear, people have the argument just because they think it's like the popular thing, and it's not always right. Again, a guy who was a second-round draft pick who had one really terrible year and was forced into a number 1 wide receiver role. This is the same city that thought Andre Iguodala was a number 1 superstar player on a team, okay? And that was proven to not be true, and he was able to flourish in other roles as a role player. Jordan Matthews came back here last year as a number 3 or 4, depending on the week and the injuries.
Yes, yeah.
And he dropped 1 ball, and he had numerous big catches. He had a big playoff game. But yet, and I don't want to see it, because half the people who comment in here about this shit, not just on this show and in the Real Talk group, but on all the shows, who now are dumping on Nelson Aguilar, the same people I watch defend this guy over the last 2 years since I joined this network.
It doesn't make sense.
So you guys are hypocrites. You pick and choose who you like. One guy was here for a Super Bowl year. Great. What has he done otherwise? What has he done to get you back since then? He's a huge reason that you're not 6-2 and you're 4-4. There's a huge reason. A guy who I got crucified for on this station when I said he stinks and needs to go, and we're not even paying him. We're donating $9 million to this guy's bank account. It's a disgrace. He's a bum. That's what I want to do when I see this shit. That one too. Like, seriously, go back and check yourselves because it's ridiculous. We want to sit here and make a guy a GOAT or crown a guy as the king of drops. The real drop to his prime is Nelson Aguilar. It's time to remove the crown off of Jordan Matthews' head and start actually using your eyes and seeing what's happened on the field.
It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
I don't care what's happened with him at other places. He works here. He has worked here, been proven to have worked here. But yet we want to bring Michael Bennett back, who isn't welcome to the locker room.
Thank you.
I want to bring Michael Bennett back, who is hated by every player in this locker room.
The Patriots got rid of him for a 7th-round pick. You think that's gonna that's nothing? Like you think that's like, oh, we could have gotten him. If the Patriots don't want him, shouldn't that say something? That says something if they give him for nothing.
This organization saved face last year saying it was about money. That was a lie. These guys know that I don't pull the source thing often. I actually have a legitimate source who is a beat writer for the Eagles, who when was asked, why did this happen? He said, do you want the Eagles reason or the real reason? And I'm not going to reveal who it was because it was off the record. Said the entire locker room and coaching staff hated this guy. He was a cancer. He was all about himself. So why in less than a year would you go out and bring the same guy back in the locker room? A guy
that you got rid of.
A guy
you just got rid of.
Who is only worth a 7th-round pick to every team in this league now. 3 of the model organizations in this league now have dumped this guy in a year. So why would we bring him back in to the locker room with the same players who were in there with him last year?
I look at it this way. You have a guy that could be a locker room issue, but have high talent, the TOs out there that, okay, I put up with a little bit knowing how much I'm going to get out from him. And then you've got guys on the opposite end of the spectrum that, okay, he really has no worth to me. Not saying it might be a bad place to put him, but almost like a Sproles, where you don't necessarily need a Sproles because you got other pieces, but he's a great locker room guy, a great presence to have, so you spend the money. Why would you go total opposite on the spectrum and go right in the middle? Okay, he's not playing well. He's only a rotational guy in the first place, and everyone hates him. Why are you bringing him back?
Yeah, and you don't even have those.
He hasn't done it. He hasn't done anything.
And it's not even like a locker room where you have like a Chris Long, who to me I would trust could be a guy who would say, "Shut the F up."
Yeah. And said that he would come back. By the way, he wanted to play. He said, "If you need me, I'm here."
I don't get it.
But that's the thing. It's a guy who is such a me guy, but everybody says, well, he's talented, though. Okay, so let's bring him into a locker room that has anonymous sources, has some douchebag going on Undisputed and running his mouth when he was only here for 2 weeks. Let's bring him into that environment, guys. A guy who was a cancer, who shit all over everybody last year. Let's bring him in to a shithole turmoil already. I can't with this fan base.
Oh, and by the way...
How stupid can you be?
Thank you. I need Noah. I needed that.
Oh, Noah. Oh, and by the way, as great as he was last year against the pass, he was horrible against the run. I just want to say that.
Real quick, there's a lot of YouTube.
Oh, by the way, if Derek Barnett was healthy last year, he was crushing whatever Michael Bennett was doing. I know he wasn't healthy because it's in hindsight. But 5 games in, guess what? He was your number 1 defensive lineman last year, not Michael Bennett.
And remember how upset Michael Bennett got early in the year that it wasn't being used? Maybe there is some credence to what Chrome is saying.
Yeah, zero coverage, as he called himself.
Yeah.
He's a guy who benefited.
It doesn't make sense.
He benefited when Barnett went out last year because it increased his snaps and gave him more opportunities to pad his numbers. Fuck out of here.
Foolish Demon talking about Matt Collins. He says he's not dropping balls. He's not getting last option catches. He's getting 0 catches. 0. If Ertz gets less than 2 catches in a quarter, we wonder what's wrong. Bryce Blackwell telling you to go off. He says A2D radio, yo. Hello, Bryce.
Hey, Bryce.
Foolish Demon says that was my point. I wanted to keep him regardless of his locker room etiquette. Mr. Wiggins wanted to know who we were talking about. Michael Bennett, Matt Collins, Jordan Matthews, and Nelson Aguilar. I think I got them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
So many things.
So many.
So many things.
Just kind of rolled into
It's just
a snowball
it's
there.
so hard. Like, I don't get it. You get those people that said, "Oh, Howie dropped the ball again, not getting Michael Bennett." What?
Listen, I'll knock him for
What?
Ramsey. I'll knock him for Clowney,
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick.
Now you're
Hell,
just complaining to
you even want to
complain.
throw in Emmanuel Sanders and those guys too. I'm on board. I'm not going to give him any grief for Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett is a piece of shit who didn't work here, would not work here, and that's just it. Let him be somebody else's problem. I don't care where he is.
Exactly. The last trade I want to talk about is Kenyon Drake going to the Cardinals. I'm happy to see that. Well, okay, go ahead. Throw your hands up. But
I mean,
it stood out. It stood out
they're
to me.
going to get to 7 wins.
No, not just that, but I feel like Kenyon Drake has been ever since that Ajayi got traded to the Eagles 2 years ago. Kenyon Drake started to get more touches. He showed that he's a very, very, very good running back. But last year he wasn't used right, and for some reason Adam Gase wanted to run with Frank Gore more, and then this year the Dolphins are just the Dolphins. Yeah, I think it's good to see 10-6. It's good to see
9-7.
Just thought of another guy, by the way.
7.
Speaking of it, Devontae Parker could have been a guy we could have looked at. You know, just saying.
I agree with
Having
you.
a pretty good year. Just saying.
That's another guy who is like buried in that Miami organization that
So
really
I
needs
can't
to get
say
out.
that they're not getting rid of guys.
Yeah,
Devontae Parker, anybody? 5th round pick? 6th?
If you listen, if you need any evidence that Miami looks like the Browns, last night one thing goes wrong and the wheels complete.
God.
It was 3 straight plays with turnovers.
They started winning. That was the issue. They were like, wait a minute. We have a lead?
Yes.
What do we do now?
It looked like they did it on purpose. What? Because I wasn't watching it for obvious reasons. If there's nothing better on TV than that, then my God, what happen to television?
I had to
tune
watch
it.
I'm
Fitz
sorry.
Magic. I had to watch Fitz.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
You're
I'm
Mr.
sorry
10
I
and
watched
6.
it.
You're Mr. 10 and 6.
I'm
9-7.
sorry I watched it.
Who?
9-7.
I never said they're going to be 10-6.
God, let's not get carried away. I said 9 and 7, not 10 and 6.
It was 10-6. Last night we lost a game that we should have won, right? So we had to back it down a game.
Yeah, I mean, I had that as a W last night, and they jacked that one up.
Foolish Demon says, I swear if we don't draft a receiver in 2021, I'm going to be pissed. But here's the thing, Foolish Demon. It's probably he probably can't play. I mean, it is Howie. Is Howie still going to be drafting?
I wish, man. What I would give for a really speedy wide receiver.
Just a wide
Yeah.
receiver, Chucks. A guy who can make a catch.
Not named Ralph Delavecchia.
I was just about to say, Ralphie's always offering himself up.
Yeah,
plenty of
we
time.
can leave that offer out there. That's an offer we'll leave on the table. If Howie doesn't go for that one, I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where to go now. I'm so pissed.
I'll ask you a question. All right? I asked Chucks and Kevin this last week, but this was, I think at the moment we thought there was going to be some kind of trade. Now that the trade thing is over, which realistic / projected / rumored trade that the Eagles were in, whether it was Ramsey, going all the way back, it doesn't have to be the last week. Which one do you regret the most that the Eagles didn't go through with?
Jalen Ramsey.
Everyone agree with that?
I think.
I disagree with it.
I think I agree with you. I think Minka.
It's Minka
for me. It's Minka too.
He's special. You would have had to give up less for him, and he's a little bit younger.
I
And
think
you don't have the dramatics.
To me, it's
quote
1 and 1A. I
Yeah,
mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, it's tough. But those two, it's tough.
Couldn't even go and get Eric Rowe. Like, fuck, man.
Couldn't even gotten freaking Clowney.
Could've
You
got
couldn't have
J.C.
given him a
Jackson.
third and a bunch of stuff. That could have been Matt Collins. Like there was just a bunch of stuff. That could have been Matt Collins, Nelson Aguilar, and friggin' who did we just cut then bring back? Bruce Hector. That could have been Bruce Hector.
I told you guys could have had J.C. Jackson.
Shut up,
This guy
Kevin.
just starts
Sorry,
throwing weird
Kevin.
names out there.
You expected that to mean something to me. I
Hey,
don't.
2 interceptions would lead your team right now. That's all I'm saying.
You might not be wrong about that.
He's-
you wouldn't be wrong. That's the thing.
Just real quick. Eagles, Bears, who's winning?
Eagles.
I got the Eagles.
Blowout freaking city. Blowout city.
They're not gonna.
That's right.
So you think Mitchell's going to have a huge game?
No.
Don't you say that to me. Don't even look at me.
Well, I mean,
We
he's
They're
knew
gonna,
this day was coming.
They are not letting Mitch Trubisky beat them.
well, that's the only way they can score now because they can't kick. I mean, they missed another one, so.
No, see, don't put the see, I'm not gonna allow you to do this because I know how this is gonna work. We're gonna make fun of the kicks, and then it's gonna happen to us. I know how this happens. I can see it on Football Night in America. Retribution for the double doink. I can see it now, Kevin. Just because you had to get 3 other kickers today doesn't mean anything to me.
I don't understand. We were perfectly
I
fine.
know you don't understand. You don't know what we go through.
Oh my
Well,
God.
you do. That one time we beat
Well,
you.
now they
Super
don't
Bowl.
even have a kicker, do you?
Oh, yeah, we signed.
Oh, that's right. You signed Nick Folk, right?
Yeah.
Luke Falk, Nick Falk.
Nick Foles
Nick Folk.
No.
to kick for
We
you guys?
could have had Young Ho, but he
Young,
got signed off
that
our
was
practice
that
squad.
was my
Kev.
no huddle.
Hey, Kev.
Well, let's go to
He'll
no
be
huddle.
available in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Go
He'll
ahead.
be available. In a
No
couple
huddle.
Nope. Stop there. I'm calling it right now.
Go ahead. No huddle. Get in there.
The Asian invasion is back, baby.
The Asian what? I'm sorry.
Young Hoku signing with the Atlanta Falcons. And what makes it better is he replaces Matt Bryant, who I can't stand. I hate Matt Bryant.
Why do
but
you hate Matt
Yeah,
Bryant?
that's
because
such a
in
weird
2000
thing.
Who
because
hates Matt
what I
Bryant?
never what I
Who hates
never
any kicker?
what I never forgave him for was and this is so me. Back in 2006 when the Eagles played the Buccaneers, Matt Bryant was the kicker. And if you remember, the Eagles had a came back in that game, and Brian Westbrook scored on a long screen pass to put the Eagles ahead late in the game. But it was with like under a minute left, Bruce Gradkowski marched down the field for the Bucs, and then Matt Bryant hit a 61 or 62 yard field goal to give the Bucs the win. So ever since then, I'm like, you took away that win from not only the Eagles but from Brian Westbrook. That would have been one of the best plays, best games of his career, and you took that away. I hate you. So ever since then, I've hated Matt Bryant. So fast forward to today, Young Ho. It's not old Ho, it's Young Ho. He is a new man, a new kicker. He is going to be the next
Imagine how many times he
the
rehearsed
next
that one.
Adam
He's
Vinatieri.
had that sitting there.
Book it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He's like, oh, I'm
All right.
write
He is
this one
going
down.
to.
Is that right?
This is the beginning.
Check his hands. Is that on the back of his hand?
This is going to be the beginning of a Hall of Fame kicking career. Let's go.
Yeah, but
Let's go.
You should be really disappointed in the Falcons because if they would have waited and picked up somebody else, he would have been on the Patriots and gotten a Super Bowl ring this year.
No. Stop.
That's not going to happen. My no huddle, the NCAA allows the athletes to
Ooh,
profit
that's
off
huge.
of names, likenesses, images. That's huge.
And
That's
Dabo
huge.
Sweeney
Yeah.
has threatened to quit college football because of this. You hear that?
What was it?
Dabo Sweeney isn't happy about it.
I did
He has
not.
threatened quitting football.
Because he thinks it's going to take away from the, aspect of the game of the, hey, work towards getting, that's supposed to be a benefit of getting to the league versus now you have it, you're giving it to them early, so why do they have to try as hard?
Yeah, no.
I think that's nonsensical.
That's
And honestly, I think it's going to make them work even harder so they get their cut. Instead of watching these schools massively profit off of essentially free labor from these kids.
And the video game's coming back too.
I saw that.
Yep.
I think it's huge. Good for them. It's about
Yeah,
time.
I like it.
What I liked about that, because I'm not a huge college football guy, but I liked how you could use the rosters from NCAA football and export
it,
them over to Madden. I thought that was always cool.
I think Madden stinks.
Oh, it does stink. I hate Madden, but because it's the only football game, I'm between a rock and a hard place, and I'm the
You
sucker
still
that
buy
keeps
it every year?
buying it because
Don't
it's the
tell
only
Ralph
football
that.
game.
Don't tell Ralph that.
Don't tell Ralph what? That Madden stinks?
Yeah.
Madden stinks.
He's playing it right now.
Yeah, I know. And I'll probably kick his ass in it, but Madden stinks. Madden sucks.
Listen, he's not going to sleep tonight because you said that.
There's-
Good. That's what he gets. 2K, NFL 2K was a much better franchise.
I loved those games.
Than Madden. Madden stinks.
Or Blitz the
Madden
League.
stinks.
Honestly, like
That was a fun game.
that game was awesome.
That was a fun
But
game.
honestly, like I don't get these video games. Like I'm a video game guy, but like why is it that every year we have to make it like Now you got to hit like 3 buttons to make a fucking catch over your like up here. Like basically you need a button.
The catch mechanic is pretty cool though. It's pretty cool.
I think it's too
There's
much
too many
though.
buttons.
Huh?
It's too many buttons.
But then you
too
can
much.
control. You can
But
control what type of catch you want to make.
But
I just want to make a catch in
I just
general.
want to make a catch and
yeah,
run.
just catch the
No,
ball.
but then
They
okay.
take
you can have,
it takes away for like the casual. I'm a little more than
It only
a
helps
casual
Ralphie
game
out.
player,
you can do.
but essentially it takes away for the. It only helps Ralphie.
What did he say?
I said it only helps Ralphie out. I just
Well,
want to
that's
catch
funny.
the ball. I want to throw the ball X, catch the ball
They
Y. I
do
don't want
have.
to hit all
They
these other
do
buttons.
have. They have simulation mode and they have arcade mode.
Granted,
So it's
granted,
simple.
I know that because I also buy them all. I'm just saying I don't like the fact that I have to do that.
I know it's Madden sucks.
I'm not a
I
video
just,
game
I
guy,
just
so
Madden sucks.
it's
I
too
barely
much.
have time for video
Yeah,
games with Madden.
I
I
just
haven't
don't.
been a video
so-
game
I just
guy in
don't
years.
find it as fun because you have to learn so much of the game to be able to effectively play it, as opposed to like NBA. Like NBA, you go in and there is buttons that you hit to be able to make certain moves, but you don't need to do all of that every play in order to like play the game and enjoy the game.
I think with the type of game that football in general is, it kind of calls for that. Like,
Does it? Because years and years and years of Madden and 2K games, we didn't have to hit 3 buttons to make a catch.
well,
Yeah,
it gives,
now all of a
but it
sudden
gives
I
more
suck. I
detail
can't-
to it. It gives.
Can't get it figured out.
I think I don't have as much problem with the catching mechanic thing that they're doing. I have more of a problem with a lot of their stuff is just outdated and their franchise mode sucks. Like it hasn't been changed or like massively
that's the only part
overhauled.
I do like.
Like they still go off of like the player's contract is literally just a salary and then signing bonus. Nothing. What happened?
No, finish your thought.
Oh, okay. But it's just there's so many. I could go on a laundry list of things that are wrong with Madden. Like a whole laundry list of what needs to be changed. Like there's defending as a defense, defending the zone sucks. Like there is no zone coverage in Madden.
Why'd you have to do that?
What?
Why'd you have to do this?
NFL Game Day. Oh, cool.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
People did it with me with Jordan Matthews. It's time to start tickling other people.
Foolish Demon says they have tutorials on how to catch. Foolish Demon, I love you. I don't want to watch a tutorial on how to catch a ball.
Right.
I don't need that. Why do we need that? Just because the NFL doesn't
think
know how to
it's cool.
catch it doesn't mean I
Listen,
don't
every
need
game
to.
has tutorials. It doesn't mean that it doesn't make it any. It makes it less fun. Now, for the people who want to be hardcore and just play that, I get it.
Yeah, it's just not me.
But like, I want to play that game, and I want to be able to play the
You don't-
NBA game and
but
maybe
you
the
also
NHL
know that
game.
you don't have to hit a button to catch it. You can let the computer catch it, and then also the computer defaults to the catching mechanic that should be best fit, so you don't have to.
It feels like I'm just watching the game. Like I want to do
No,
some of the
like
work.
I'm
not driving
if you
on
hike the
autopilot.
ball
It's not
and
cruise
you
control.
if you hike the ball and you pass it to 0, like to circle wide receiver, you don't have to do anything else. The circle wide receiver will still catch it. It's not like the receiver's gonna drop it if you don't hit the right button. He'll still catch it. But if you want to go into more detail and do like a possession catch instead of a run after the catch, then you can choose to hit the button, but you don't have to.
Again, why are we overcomplicating it?
No,
I'm just saying.
I'm
I'm critical of Madden, but not over that.
I play a video game to escape stress. I don't need to I don't want to have to read a book to just play a video game.
I'm
You know what I'm
100%
saying?
with you.
I like the catching.
Yes,
NFL Street was awesome.
That was it.
NFL
was
Street was
That
the
game was pretty great.
That was
when I
great.
was a video game guy.
that was
Then
great. NFL Street and NFL Street 2 both were amazing.
Donovan was there.
Oh my God, yeah.
was a good game.
The
Those
one
were-
field was a skyscraper,
Yes.
and you'd always throw it, and then
You
just,
could jump off of like the walls and
Yes.
everything. Oh my God! And the mini games they had, they had like the one mini game where it's like keep away. You just have to run with that.
You
Was
could customize the
so-
rosters.
oh
You could
my
put
God.
freaking Donovan on the Cowboys. I
Oh
did it
my-
a couple times. I wasn't happy with Donovan in those years. It was fine. It was at the end. It was fine.
Oh,
I still
that
had,
was great.
But I still had T.O. on the roster. I didn't forget.
that was
I
so
didn't
great.
forget about that.
Man, I might know.
Straight Donovan 4TO.
Yeah.
I might go buy NFL Street 2 now.
But it's a
Like,
testament to like if I had to choose, I'm not a video game guy anymore. I have all of like the consoles and everything. If I had to choose, I'd probably go back to the original Xbox and play those games because those are more fun. You know why? Because it's easier. No, they're not easier. That's the wrong phrase. They're easier to
I
get
would go.
into.
They're
Honestly,
easier to casually enjoy.
They
to
don't
me-
overthink themselves.
Honestly, to me, Chucks was right. 2K. I would go
2K
back to the
was
2K games and
the
play 'em.
best. I still have a
I
copy
hated.
of 2K.
I was very, very sad when the 2K franchise
I was depressed.
shut down.
I still have a copy of 2K5 with T.O. on the
I
cover.
have that at my
That
parents'
to me,
house.
that's the best video game, football
that-
video game of all time.
That football video game, that specific year,
Yeah.
was the most fun I ever had playing
yeah,
football.
it was
video game.
incredible, absolutely incredible.
It was just those and the Tiger Woods golf games. That's why I lived on. What? I mean, what? What?
Tiger Woods.
No.
You guys don't understand. You don't understand.
I mean, I go back to Jordan versus Bird, which was a pretty great game too. Do you have anything for No Huddle?
Yeah, this weekend, big UFC card with Masvidal versus Nate Diaz, and we get
Back
to
on
see.
the card, Nate Diaz.
Yeah, he's on again, off again type of deal this week, but he is on at Madison Square Garden. Should be a big fight for the baddest in the game belt, which hopefully, I was talking about this with a couple guys at work. I hope that they do make a belt. I'm hoping it looks EFC or ECW hardcore title esque type look to it.
Nice.
But yeah, it should be interesting. And then a lot of big names are circling around. After this fight, who does McGregor, who's supposed to be fighting in January, come up and fight? So should be interesting. Good things to watch.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be away. I'll be in. Not unfortunately, I'll be in Florida. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would definitely watch that card. Stephen White on Facebook says, I missed the franchise mode from 2010. You know what other game was great in my opinion? Big 1 and 2 was Bigs 1 and 2.
Yeah, the bigs.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
the big.
That had Howard on the cover,
And he
right?
said, I think so. He said, what about NBA Jam? NBA Jam was
NBA Jam.
obviously great. Ryan, anything for the cause? Are you good?
I'll just say this. If Mitchell somehow beats the Eagles this week, Chrome, you should be very happy that I'm going to be gone for the next week. And I'm not going to be here Tuesday. I'm going to be playing golf.
I might just cancel.
You're not
this
going to want
show.
to see me.
Oh, I can't wait
You're
to
not
see
going to
you.
want to see me. I might get an early flight. You hear me? I'm not going to because I don't know. But I might.
I
think
can't
about it.
wait to see you. World Series going on, guys. Hopefully the Astros pull it out. Last thing, great hiring, Joe Girardi for the Phillies. I'm just leaving it at that. That was the right guy for them to get done. So,
Even though people were obsessing over the beards thing. I had to hear that on the way home.
what, no beards?
It's against their rights. Can you shut up? Can you shut
Bryce
up?
shave his beard off? I didn't hear about this.
Apparently they like related something to where he might do it again.
Well, I mean, they did that with the Yankees, but it's the Yankees. The Yankees still do that.
People were making such a big deal out of it.
Who cares?
Who gives a damn?
If they win you a championship, do you give a fuck if somebody has a beard?
Well, people do.
Well, they need to get over it.
Go
I
ahead,
do have
Chubbs.
one more No Huddle.
Okay.
HBO has announced a spin-off series
I heard
for
about this.
Game of Thrones
Oh,
I
called
can't
House
get
of the Dragon.
I can't even get excited.
the show sucks anyway.
Yeah.
I had the video because
You're alone on an island. I can't get excited for that anymore.
Yeah.
Yo,
I can't
listen,
do it anymore.
for real though, if there's ever a week to watch Temptation Island, dude,
Oh God, here we go.
this week
Here
is
we
gonna
go.
be
Cue the music.
insane.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
telling
do something
you.
else.
I'll tell you guys about it off the air, but I'm telling you, this is the week to get in it. Temptation Island, let's go.
Oh, and Eagles on All or Nothing. We'll be
Yeah, I
on All
saw
or
about
Nothing.
that.
They're not happy about it.
And I'm not happy about
I'm
it.
not
either.
happy.
Fam,
happy
thanks for
with it.
joining us. Great show. Lots of interaction. We appreciate you. Trade deadline. Sorry it wasn't better. Sucked. Nothing we can do about it. But tomorrow, the fix is not on, but we do have AM and the PM tomorrow night. So ATD will be bringing you programming tomorrow as we do throughout the week as well. I will see you Thursday night for Lazy Booking. These gentlemen and myself will see you next Tuesday night from Birds of a Feather. Mr. Brodo won't be back till what, next Thursday? Well, for me, next Thursday. You're back Wednesday,
I'll be
right?
getting off of a plane. I'll be driving straight here for the Wednesday show. So
All
I'll be
right.
back on Wednesday.
So Mr. Brodo will be back next Wednesday. So until then, guys, thanks to our sponsor, the Specialized Physical Therapy, our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. Again, check him out, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Find him on the web. And then that's it, guys. Until then, have a great week. Go Birds. Watch out for that special young talent, Mitchell Trubisky. And check out Temptation Island. Have a great week.
You son of a- We see you, Harlem Cowboy. We freaking see you. And I'm not saying that. How about them Eagles? How about them Eagles?